So, actually, what are we going to talk about? Positive mindsets, successful sessions. And I actually didn't really put down anything that I should or would or consider teaching today. That's how I work. And I actually thought I was supposed to talk on a different topic. And Richard went on, talk about positive suggestions and mindsets, all of that, right? Awesome. So I'll just open up the box today and allow you to pick my brain. And I do have some ideas though, because how many actually do work professionally with the clients? A lot of you. Awesome. So there's this entire major, very stupid misconception about hypnosis that we have to understand, and we have to be able to put ourselves in this, in the shoes of our clients, getting to know who they are, what's going on, how that feels, or how this feels, or whatever, how they think, and all those patterns. And we don't have to. So one thing I want to start with is actually a conversation from a little bit earlier today in the back of the room, where somebody picked up the book on my table saying, oh, so it's all about getting to know if your clients are visual or kinesthetic. I'm like, no, it's absolutely not that. It's all about allowing everything to happen. Because I know there's still these misconceptions that we have to figure out and analyze who's our client. Are they mostly visual, kinesthetic, auditive? Because those are the major three things we usually look for, isn't it? But that's only dominant for a brief moment. So if you have a client who's very kinesthetic right now, and you think that you're supposed to only speak in a kinesthetic language for the rest of the session, your client will not get full benefit of anything. And you will limit yourself, because that is not a natural way of communicating. You trying to interpret everything into becoming kinesthetic. That would be kind of limiting, wouldn't it? So instead of using one entire session of trying to speak the language of the client, knowing that the client can speak any language, especially on the unconscious, why not just kickstart that thing and have them to get the full benefit and expand? And what do you think would happen instead of just focusing, again, let's stick with the kinesthetic. Let's say we could kind of like enforce a lot of new things, find some resources only in a kinesthetic way throughout the session. What do you think will happen if we finally got a great resource that is only kinesthetic? What do you think will happen if we shifted that into becoming a different modality of senses? What if that kinesthetic feeling was now an image, a sound, a scent, a taste, all in all? Do you think that would do any difference on behalf of the client? That would change the entire thing, actually. You might not know how to, but I'll show you that in a moment. How many people went to the Siri induction talk yesterday? Oh, the rest of you missed out, but good stuff though. I'll give you the video, all right? So maybe today makes even more sense, yeah? So it's all about shifting. It's all about creating new neural networks. So what's happening? Within a brain, you have a neural network. Let's see if we can use this just a little bit. I'm going to draw a brain. I'm going to explain it's a brain, because otherwise we'll look at it thinking, is that a brain? That is a brain. Just so you know, right? That is not one of my strong forces. Give me a computer, I can do anything. But if that's a brain and we have a problem network right there, that is a neural network that is now the client's issue / problem / whatever. Awesome. How many of you are talking with your client about that problem? Because you want to know. Honestly, come on. How many people ask the client, so what kind of issue do you have? Or what kind of problem do you want to work with? How many times or how often do you experience that? When did it happen the last time? How large is it within your own world? And all of those questions. What do you think happened to that neural network? Grows every single time. Every single question, it grows, because where attention goes, energy flows, right? What fires together, wires together. That's the two basic simple facts about the brain. So the reason about not asking questions about the actual problem is the following. I actually was listening into another talk yesterday, and she said, well, clients lie all the time. They don't know it. Some do, don't get me wrong, but most clients think the problem is real. Because that is how their brain on a conscious level analyzed that problem into becoming, oh, that's plausible now, because if we put it into this perspective and with this angle on it, and what my friends told me yesterday, and whatever logic sense I have today, that is why I have this problem. Because now it makes sense. I'm at peace with the problem. That is how the human brain thinks. Because we want to make it complicated, because otherwise we will just fix it, right? That is the power of the brain. That is that neural network right there. And every time you ask another question, it grows. And you might ask the question, let's say they have problems back home, and you might go, because you're curious, you're kind of like an interviewer, like a journalist, and you go, have you ever experienced that problem while being at work? Oh, don't go there. Because they might not have, but when you ask the question, they go, maybe. And with that maybe, this neural network grows into a different concept saying, do I have the same problem at work? And now we got another neural network. Considering using the imagination, creativity within the brain, thinking about all the occasions you might have had that problem at work, and if it doesn't exist, you'll make it exist. Just by thinking in a creative way. Because it might be. Oh, the wonders of the human brain. That's how we're supposed to think, because that's how our genetics within the brain works, unless we control it. So, just 5 minutes within a session, asking questions about the problem. You messed up. You might have a pretty okay session. You might even believe it's an awesome session with a great change in the end of it. But I promise you, you can do way better. You could not just reach the client's goals, you could expand those and go beyond them by 100, if you think about it, with a quantum leap right there. Them not knowing what happened. And every time you ask another question, here comes the thing, because you only think about that one modality, talking in a kinesthetic way when you think about the solution, about the resource. But when you ask questions about the problem, use all the language connected to all the senses. Feel, right? Sense, visualize, listen, sense, taste, all of it. So that makes the problem grow even more. Now, you have a problem with your client. And that's not how it's supposed to be, is it? So how easily can we break this pattern? Very easily. Because for those who saw the small exercise I did yesterday, my question to my client would be, so why do you think you're here now? Think about that question. Why do you think you're here now? That questions every reason why they're here. Why do you think that? So I don't give it any value, because I'm actually questioning them. Do you know at all why you're here? Why do you think you're here? On a conscious level, that's all on purpose. And if they go, well, I want to lose some weight, I would just go, okay, and why didn't you just do it? Well, because of, and now here comes the problem, the reality, the false reality within their mind. Because I can't plan to eat healthy because of my work, there's only cookies in the cupboards, and there's only a 7-Eleven down the street, so it's hot dogs or nothing. And I will go, okay, let's leave it at that now. Because now I just triggered their reality. I didn't ask any deepening questions, did I? I just asked about the reality they think is real. So I'm just going to cut it right away. Pattern interrupt. Say, all right, perfect, we'll get back to that. Some clients really want to talk about it. And they go, well, you have to understand. I'll go, that's all right, we'll get back to that. Keep doing the pattern interrupt, because there's no reason why we have to discuss it. Because I know it's a false reality. And even if it's some sort of real, there's still some layers of reality that is not real, that is surrounding that entire problem, right? So doing the pattern interrupts and not questioning the problem, what do you think you have to do instead?
Focus on the solution.
Not even. Because if they knew the solution, they would have done it. Yeah, right? So this is how it's been. How do you want to be different? To do a John Overdorf way. I know that used to be the problem. From now on, when they actually enter my office, I know for a fact that whatever they thought the problems were, it was now in, or it is now in the past. It can't be part of the session because they're not doing it right now. If it's overeating, well, they're not sitting there with the hot dog in their hand, so they're not acting out the behavior. That's impossible. I will not allow that, right? They don't sit there in front of me with a cigarette or cigar and say, can you make me stop smoking? Right? They're not doing that. That's not allowed. So I'm not allowing the behavior to be part of it, because otherwise it would be weird, wouldn't it? No, so them sitting there, thinking about their false reality, and I just shut it down. And I talk about, so how do you want to feel? My exact question to my client, as soon as possible, would be, all right, I know that's how it's been until now, but when you wake up tomorrow and everything is great, the way you want it, how do you want to feel? Why do you think I ask about how do you want to feel? Well, not how do you want it to be? How would you consider a day like tomorrow becoming or turning into if everything was fine? Because that is leading the conscious mind. But when you wake up tomorrow and everything is great or fine or super, how do you want to feel? And you'll watch your client right there in front of you go, I don't know. Well, if we don't know, how can the problem be a problem? But there's actually some different truth to that. If you know you have a problem, that means you know that you could have a better resource right now. If you have an issue, you know something might be better. And if you know something might be better, that means you have a reference within your internal system, knowing that I felt better at one point than I do right now. And if you have that resource within yourself, it's already there. You can't compare anything to the problem unless you have something that feels better. If you have nothing to compare with, you don't know you have a problem. You won't be looking for a solution for it. So remember this, that is your backup in all times. If you have a client and you think, oh my God, they have a severe, damaged, injured, sad life, right? Worst case scenario. You should actually go, wow, if they feel this bad, they can feel so much better. Instead of just having somebody, well, I just bite my nails once in a while. It's not really a problem, but it would be nice to get rid of it. That would be maybe kind of difficult to find, the positive resource within that, but it's not difficult, but compared to somebody who really has a problem. So think about it. If you feel bad, if you have a problem, that means you have some condition within yourself, resource, state that is better than the problem. And when it's already there, you don't have to go figure out a solution. You don't have to go create anything because it's already there. Within your DNA, within your cells, within your atoms. So when I look at my client, I actually don't look at my client. Do you ever catch yourself sitting there looking at your client, trying to figure out what's going on the inside? Like really looking at them like, what the hell? Well, and listening to them, like, because you gave them too much time to speak about the problem, you go, isn't it obvious what to do? Because you know differently. But you can't tell them, can you? You can only look at them. So by looking at them like that, I just change my focus, because I don't see my client as who they think they are. I'm looking at them to see what's on the inside, on the outside. To go truly John Overdorf on all of you, let's talk about this. Every atom, electron that is you, that is making this chair solid, like this, my arm just like that, or the air that is not there, feels like it's not there, it all consists of the same electrons. If we took one of those electrons and we zoomed in on it, allowed it to grow so it's the size of a basketball right here, and I'm holding my electron right here in my hand, everything that makes me solid, this chair way more solid, and the air, not that solid. But it's still the same electrons. To make things solid, how close do the next electron have to be? Very close? Would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah. Any other ideas? Sorry?
Far apart.
Far apart, how far? Exactly, a football field. Imagine that. One electron in one side of the football field, another one in the other side. That is how dense electrons are to make things solid. So it's not about what you see right there in front of you, it's everything in between, isn't it? I'm thinking about, oh, I want to make change within my client, trying to have this invisible arm going out of my mind, grabbing them and fix something with a screwdriver within my client. I'm not thinking about that. So the way it starts with me is I'm actually just sitting here in my office. It's my room. Everything that's within my room is already changed. So when they enter my room, everything they step into is change. I don't look at my client, I feel my client. Might sound a little bit weird, like should we go all woo-woo now? No, it's a connection, right? It is a connection. If some of you listened to Ken Gutzoll yesterday, he talked about the three brains within the body. And you go, oh, that's kind of like, oh, that's pseudoscience. No, it's real science. The neurons, glial cells, or whatever that's within your body, well, your brain within your guts is just as strong as your reptile brain in your head. And you have 400 to 500 million neurons within your heart. And it's all connected through the vagus nerve. So don't tell me that you can think up solutions if you don't feel it. Every time you change within your life, it's because you had a gut feeling. You connect with your heart thinking, oh, I can do this. And now your brain got an idea. But the other two comes first. So when I'm connecting, first, it's with my gut. Do I feel like doing this? That is the main priority within the session. Do I feel like doing the session? Because if you can't connect with your gut, nothing's going to happen. Nothing good anyway. It's going to be a feisty client, a rebel, and you're going to hate yourself afterwards. So when I feel that, yes, I can do this, I own my room. If I'm in front of 1,000 people doing a stage show somewhere, mentalism show or TV show or whatever, keynote, TED Talk, I own the entire room. It's my room. I'm not concerned about the two people sitting like this, looking like somebody who disbelieves everything I say. That's not part of the experience. They can't judge me because they don't know me. I'm only there to share the knowledge I believe in. And I could do that, just random knowledge. I could do that, but I really want to make sure that all the knowledge that I do have is something that's based on science and or experience. Otherwise, it's not realistic. We can all make up some shit, write a book about it, and when people go, what is the documentation that this is real? Well, it's in my book. Do you need any more than that? Right? That is fake reality, right? No, so I want it to be based on science, how the brain works, how the nervous system works, how it affected 1,000 people within sessions, or maybe just 100. 100 is pretty fine if you got a 98% result that is positive. That is a pretty good test. So when I feel right within my stomach, my gut brain, I will open up my heart to my client. I actually do look at my client and I think to myself, oh, I love that moment that will happen when you finally allow your resources to be part of your real life. I can't wait. Wow, that is the moment within the session. That is my heart feeling right in front of my client. I feel it. I know it. Do I love my client? Oh, yes, I do. Because I see the resources within them. I know it's there. The tricky part is making them understand it. But as long as I got my gut brain working, my heart brain working, now the unconscious part of my brain can start helping me doing the techniques I know so well on automatic. Do I use my conscious? To breathe? Yes. To pay attention to the time? Yes. Other than that, no. If I catch myself thinking, oh, this might be a good idea, I'll go, oh, let's discard that right away. back to gut feeling, heart feeling, and now connect on an unconscious level, see what happens, what comes next automatically. Some of you already, saw me on different conferences at different times. And I have this ability, when I connect with a client, even 5 years later, I can remember every power word, every positive resource they told me the last time. But on the way out, if you ask me to grab something downstairs at the convenience store, and I go, of course I will, 10 steps out of this room, I forgot about it. Probably on the way down the escalator, I would go, where am I heading? Restaurant or TGI Fridays? I can't remember. So, because I use all my resources helping people when I do it, and I love that feeling of being in trance with my client. I go first, always. And if you do that, you have the perfect positive setup. Nothing can go wrong, right? Because they do have resources. So when we talk about the induction, or not the induction, but how the brain works, we have these, negative problem neural networks. We don't pay attention to it. So imagine this, every time they want to talk about it, but you do a pattern interrupt, right? Every time you talk about it and do a pattern interrupt, and you change the focus to something positive, a new neural network will show up. A new resource, a new trigger somewhere. And eventually, every time you kind of like cut the line between those two and you create new ones, they start to collaborate. Because same rules apply. Fires together, wires together. And it will end up swallowing the negative neural network. Easy as nothing. Because how fast is change within the brain? How fast will you be traumatized? 1/100th of a second. What is a trauma? What is a trauma? Frozen moment in time where something overloaded your capacity within your brain and your body noticed everything in your environment. Pollen, scent, density of the air, the temperature, the color on the wall, the lighting, the people, the names of the people in the room. All of that right now, considering how deep that overwhelming feeling might be, is now a trauma. That is a pure, perfect trauma because it can be dealt with. You just reacted. But now, here comes trouble. Your conscious mind goes, I don't know what happened. This is kind of weird. I felt awkward, weird, hurt, sad. I wonder what that might be. And now it starts thinking. What might it be? What kind of references do I have to something similar? Now that's part of the reality. And then we might go, can you help? What do you think happened? You go, well, I think because I experienced this 10 years ago. And my friend last week, now we got 2 more realities on top of mine. I'm going to be fucked. Totally messed up. Not a good thing, right? Leave that to the side and think about the resources. I will get back to that in just a moment. So when I finally changed my methods of seeing clients by doing this, quite fast I saw a aggressive, powerful change in the results of my sessions. I always look at my sessions that every tool that I use needs to serve a purpose. Everything from my hello to my intake form to the video I send out to prep them to how I speak, how I talk, how my tone of voice might be. Pointing at the chair in the back, that's the hypnotic chair. And every time I mention trance, relaxed, positive change, I point at the chair on the video. So now they're already primed. That means no 30-minute pre-talk because they can't ask me questions while watching a video, right? So when they get there, I point at my chair. They go, should I sit in the chair right now? First pattern interrupt, in a moment. Come over here, sit by my desk. What do you think your problem is? Why do you think you're here? Now it all starts. And before we do anything, let's say something like this. Before we do anything that has to do with hypnosis, I just want to give you a great experience. Just shut your eyes for a little bit. Just for a brief moment. And go, I can do that. Oh, we're not doing the hypnosis part yet. Awesome. Close their eyes. 1 minute later, 60 seconds, they will be in a nice, perfect trance. Not knowing what just hit them. Stepping into the resourceful state of the unconscious. That means they're not leaving. Because you probably all have those clients. After a session, they will ask the question, was I hypnotized? And I'm going, were you? I don't know. That's right. You don't. Well, I felt all these things. How did you know how to do that? Because that's perfect trance. You're awesome. Did I? Right? Those kind of questions. It's kind of like, so we just expand the trance experience even more, because it's not a question if you're there or not. It's all a question about how did you feel? What happened? Does client have to know the steps within the process? No. Do client want to know? Oh yeah. But keep them quiet, tell them what to do, shut their eyes, bypass all of that. Do you actually, if you drive in your car, if you own a car, once in a while, it needs to go to the mechanic, right? Would you ever drive down there with your car and just keep standing there like, so that kind of change, what kind of tool are you using? Because I want to know if you do it right. Yeah? What kind of exhaust pipe is that? Does it fit my car? Can you tell me about it? Why does it bend that way? Shouldn't it be shiny? Is it going to be hot? Are you going to pinch your fingers? What's happening? Right? Why do you allow your clients to do the same thing? Tell you what to do. No, you're the professional, right? So leave that out too. So now, we're talking about how they want to feel tomorrow. And we're talking about how to get them into trance real fast. And now it all starts. And I did that for quite some time, and I was still using some sort of measuring tool. That would be the first thing I'm going to teach you about. A measuring tool that you probably all know, the SUD scale. On a scale from 1 to 10, how bad does it feel? Because now we've got something of value that we can kind of like check up on throughout the entire session. And if we have a problem state that is a 9, we'd really like it to become a 1 or a 0 in the end of the session. But that's the wrong way of doing it. Why? Because every time you talk about that negative value, you refer back to that negative neural network. So you're keeping it alive, making it less possible that it will change or transfer into a resource. So the typical Martin Castor way is, let's mess that up a little bit. Let's dissect it, pull it apart, and do the opposite. So instead of using the SUD scale, by the way, do you know what that stands for? Subjective units of distress. Even the word is kind of a problem, isn't it? Yeah, right? I want to figure out how many subjective units of distress you might have within your body and feeling the problem right now. How does it feel? We don't want that kind of situation happening throughout the session, because that is not a positive state. So I just, I like to provoke people. So I created the SUDA scale, right? So what is the SUDA scale? What about calling it subjective units of dominant attention? Because now, when we think about the outcome, because we all know that if we're going to change the client, let's say it's behavior, we don't think about the behavior. We shouldn't attack the behavior. We shouldn't try and change the behavior, because the behavior is not the issue. The intention behind it is the issue. Because there's no connection apparently, because the behavior just took off. But the intention behind the behavior is always positive if we chunk it up enough. The behavior is just the result of something happening, of conscious thinking. If it's a trauma, well, it happened, but there might be resources. No matter how you think about it, there's always resources. Worst case scenario, you're still here, you didn't die, you're okay. True, right? Even if I see people who have suicidal tendencies and they kind of threaten me, as most of them do, like, hey, if you're not helping me right now, I'm going to throw myself off a building. I would go, How much time did it take you to get over here? Well, 45 minutes. I would go like, 45 minutes. Do you know how many times you could have done that on the way here? But apparently you actually entered my office. You're here right now, so what do you want? What do you really want? Don't threaten me. And I always get a win. Because that's how they got attention until now, because they don't know how to communicate. So I appreciate it, because it is communication. But they're not going to win this conversation. Not at all. And if they actually stand up and they aim for the window, I know how to put them down. All right? So I'm not afraid of that. It never happened though. But some people are afraid of it, right? What if we provoke them too much? Well, they will definitely exit the state they're in if you do so. How can that not be good if the state they're in right now is thinking about killing themselves? Get them out of that state. Do a pattern interrupt about something completely weird or awkward. You'll see what happens. They leave the state. Okay? So that whole change of changing that focus, well, instead of thinking about, the problem or the behavior that makes you want to feel like or think about killing yourself on a scale from 1 to 10, how high up there is it? Well, if it's a 9, we have severe issues. So let's ask the different, not even opposite, but a different question. What do you lack right now to be able to totally discard that feeling? What is it that you're missing right now since you have those ideas? What are you in lack of? Because it might not be the opposite, but it's what they're lacking right now. So let's say if it's confidence, self-esteem, all the cliches, right? On a scale that is actually, the confidence. On a scale that goes from 1 to 10, and 10 is like, bring it, I'm ready. And 1 is, I don't really think so. I don't feel like it. How much confidence do you feel right now? Maybe a 1, maybe a 2. Wouldn't it be more powerful to allow that to grow throughout the entire session, staying within the positive resource of the neural networks, instead of tapping into the negative one? Make sense? Okay. So the SUDA scale is an idea I want to plant within your mind right now. So the next time you sit there in front of a client and you're thinking about, you want to valorize something that is the issue or the reason why they're actually sitting in front of you, well, think about what they're lacking, what you want to grow, what do you want to empower throughout the session, because that will make the session, just by doing that, it will double, or triple, or quadruple the result in the end, just by doing that small thing. So think SUDA, right? It's a free gift, here we go. It's just letters in a combination. It's just an idea, nobody owns this shit. Right? So here you go. But I want to do a small exercise that might make you understand and think a little bit differently about how I, kind of approach my clients. Something that might be actually a session within itself. So I want all of you right now to allow your unconscious to think about a prime moment from your past where you felt absolutely amazing. Awesome, powerful, on top of your world, doing your thing, invulnerable, or whatever. I want you to think about one of those moments where you felt something like that, that would be a prime moment within your life. When you all got it, just show me your hand so I know you're there. And if your conscious mind starts to question it, it's probably the thought you had just before. Yeah, there we go. Last hands came up. Awesome. So I want you to think about this question. In that moment, in that very moment, when you step into it in just a short moment, when you close your eyes and step into that moment, what is present in that moment that is usually not there? In your prime moment, what is present? What do you feel that you usually don't? Think about right now. Close your eyes, step into that, and acknowledge, understand what is present right there in that amazing moment that is usually missing. And when you got it, open up your eyes, write it down, do whatever with it, because it's going to be very important in just a moment. So what is there that is usually missing? And if I could, anyone want to share just a couple of words? Yep.
This summer I was learning stage hypnosis, and when I got on stage.
And what was there that is usually missing? The feeling.
Excitement.
Excitement, that's what I'm looking for. Awesome. And it's not just any regular excitement, right? It's something that is connected with everything right there, so you feel it differently than just walking down the hallway being excited about something. That's a different excitement, right? Good. Anyone else? Yeah.
Flow and clarity and really connected to a deeper knowing.
Boom. Anyone else? Yeah. Julie?
I was actually doing a demo for powerlifting, which I thought wasn't allowed.
Interesting.
Powerful.
Powerful. One more? Yep.
Fearlessness.
Wow.
Mastery.
Mastery. Awesome. Wow. Listen to those words. You all know your own word, right? Keep that in mind for a little bit. Because that word is going to be very important. It is the most impactful power word within your system right now. And when I say power word, do you actually know what that means? What is a power word? It's a term that's being used in hypnosis, but most people don't know what it actually is. A power word is a multi-layered emotional word that means way more than the word itself. That was the explanation. Yeah, multi-layered emotional word that means way more than the word itself. So meaning, when, who said powerful? Julie said powerful. When Julie says powerful, you all go, oh, I know what that means. No, you don't. In that moment where Julie was in the situation and she felt powerful because something triggered her, that is way beyond the word. And that would be something, if I put her on the spot right now, it would be kind of difficult to explain completely because it's a condition, it's a state, it's on multi-levels. So don't even try to understand it. Don't spend any time throughout the session trying to analyze or understand it. But when I look at Julie and I go, powerful, something happens because she just started smiling. Yeah? And now she knows it's a trigger. So the next time I point, I go, powerful. There you go. See what happens? The body did this, so now it feels it. And now I might just even only have to point. There you go. There we go, right? So that's how powerful it is, right? Within your powerfulness. Awesome. So let's do the opposite now. Because now you know what's present in those peak moments or prime moments that is usually not there. Now pick any other random moment, like now. What is present right now that is missing in your peak moment? What is present right now that is missing in your peak moment? Oh, I know these questions is making your conscious mind work hard because there's some double binds in this one. And you go, what? What is present right now that is missing or not there when you feel those words you just told me?
Calmness. Being calm. I'm not usually calm.
So are you calm now but not in your peak moment?
I'm calm now.
Okay. Yeah.
Presence.
Are you not, don't you have any presence when you're in your peak moment? Right now, what is missing in your peak moment that is usually here? What is missing in that peak moment? Because it's usually a negative when you think about it. In your peak moment where you feel powerful, energized, flow and all that, what is missing in that very moment? Oh,
Judgment.
Here we go. Judgment.
Doubt.
Doubt.
Tired.
Tired. All right. So you kind of get it now. That is a negative power word. But if you look at it, think about that word right now. What is the highest positive intention behind it? Of you feeling that. So let's use tired. Because you probably haven't thought about this. So when you do feel tired, thinking about right now, what is the highest positive intention behind you recognizing you feel tired? What is your body telling you? What do you need to pay attention to?
Rest.
Getting rest, taking care of yourself. We can go into deeper levels of the intention behind it. So is that positive or negative? That your body is actually able to communicate to your conscious, like, hey, I'm tired. But you probably go, I want to do this too, but I don't want to feel tired. Now you created a problem, but it's actually your body saying, hey buddy, we need a break. How big a break do you need when you actually notice it and you change the idea around what it actually is? Maybe just a short one, right? But if you continue the entire day thinking, I'm so tired, now it becomes a bigger problem, right? But here's the secret behind this teeny tiny exercise. Those two words, probably you have two words right now. What's present in that peak moment and what's missing in that peak moment. Here's the secret. Those two words are your most important drives in your life. Even though they might be opposite, it's everything that runs you. It's everything that pushes you, and it's everything that holds you back. One of them is really positive, and you think until now that those peak moments are sacred because it happens so rarely. And you can only feel that flow in those peak moments. Well, it's because you're suppressing it right now. Because that other power word, what's present but missing in the peak moment, is something you think has way more control over you on an unconscious level. But when you think about the negative word, and you think about what is the highest positive intention behind it, suddenly you have a positive resource. And now that means your two drives are positive resources. And as you notice that right now, on an unconscious level, things are happening right now. Remember your power word, the positive one, what's usually present in your peak moments. Think about that right now and try not to feel it. Think about it right now and try not to feel it. What's happening? It's there, isn't it? Now switch to the other one and think about how that does not trigger that other feeling. Yeah, something amazing just happened. Try to think about how that not triggered is not triggering that other feeling. Think about the negative and think about how it's not triggering. Yeah, so you go, what? Yeah, that is a programming part of what I do. Now those two are getting, stuck together. So if you have either one of them, you will step into resources.
So can you repeat what you just said, how it is not
Yep.
triggering?
So that whatever you thought was negative, that now has a higher positive intention, think about how it's not triggering your positive state. What happens with the word not?
Start.
Yeah. And even if it is or it isn't, now you combine those so your brain doesn't understand if one works without the other or the opposite. It doesn't. So both triggers the condition right now. And you might not feel it a whole lot right now, but you probably will have a moment throughout the day where you go, oh, this is kind of weird. I never felt like this before. Oh, maybe it's that weird guy from Denmark, right? Maybe. I don't know. Something like that, right? So cherish that moment. Yeah? Was that a question coming up?
Yeah, so the word judgment was my negative word, and I'm having trouble working back what the
Let's
positive
go. Okay.
is.
So judgment is usually there when you're not feeling your prime moment.
Right.
What is the intention behind you paying attention to judgment? Explain judgment to me as you experience it.
I feel it's critical of me. Is that a judgment?
Is it you judging others, or you think about others judging you?
Others judging me.
Okay, so why do you think you need to have that kind of experience? Noticing others might have an opinion on what you do. What is the highest intention behind that?
To keep me safe from embarrassment?
And if you keep yourself safe from embarrassment, what can you do more of?
Nothing. I don't.
If you feel safe, what can you do more of?
If I feel safe, I can do more of everything.
Okay, so would it be obvious that some part of you is paying attention to something that might not be safe in case something happens, so you can feel even more safe because you detect it and you can move out of that situation, making sure you're safe the entire way through. How's that not positive?
Right, I get it now.
But you got stuck at the first level, but now we start to chunk it up. What's your positive power word, your positive drive?
I just forgot.
The first one. That's usually there. That's
Oh, fearless.
fearless.
I'm like,
Yeah, and yeah. So, what is not fearless about feeling safe?
It's not fearless about feeling safe.
Look at me. What is not safe about feeling not fearless?
Say that again?
Yeah. What is not safe about feeling not fearless? Do you feel fearless in a safe way? Do you want to be fearlessly safe in whatever you do?
Yes.
So what's the problem?
There we go on.
Okay. Whatever it was before we started the conversation, you know you had an idea that would provoke some negative state within you because that was your negative. Try and connect with that right now and see what happens instead. Now you look a little bit confused, like looking for it. It's not there, is it?
It's not there.
Okay, so here's one proof. Remember I talked about the neural networks?
Yeah.
And how fast a trauma might be created? How fast can we change this now? I just did it. from a couple of questions. I'm not using my communication skills. I'm using the fact that I know how your brain works. So I did that. I connected all the positive ones and I overloaded the negative one. So whatever triggered the negative one in the past is now triggering you being safely fearless. Why is it important to you to feel safe and fearless? Or safely fearless, or fearlessly safe? What is the positive intention behind that?
So I can make change, so I can,
How does that feel? You can make change. How does it feel?
that's powerful.
How do you know that?
It makes me smile, I feel energized.
Where is it now? Because you did this, where is it now?
It's here.
How does it grow? I
Grows him
know.
up and it grows down.
Oh, there you go. So how did that change your way of thinking from before, as you do it right now?
I can be fearless anytime, anywhere. I am fearless.
It's just an idea, isn't it? You're it. Tack. Right? So that is the Bob Newhart session, isn't it? 5 minutes, $5. Right? But instead of doing the SUD, that would be the stop it, I do this SUDA, like go ahead with the stuff you want to do, right? Within 5 minutes. So I just collapsed your brain on the conscious level of thinking in a negative pattern. That is how the brain functions. Isn't that amazing? Why? Because I keep it positive all the way through. All the way through. And if your minds are still going like, what the hell just happened? That is when I do my twist of the John Overdurfian stuff, and that's why John and I call it Castorian and Overdurfian way of speaking, conversational hypnosis, or coaching, right? Because it's all about mixing those things together. We love it. We don't have to know much. Think about the freedom right now. Seeing your client, you don't have to know anything. You see your client, you just have to sit there and feel okay. You see your client, you don't have to know why they do the stuff they do. You're only there for one single reason. Figuring out how they want to feel when they wake up tomorrow and everything is fine. And how would you find that answer? By asking the freaking question. How do you want to feel when you wake up tomorrow? That's it. Okay? How to get there? Well, that's just a matter of minutes. Everything else is what I call bonus. Icing on the cake. My real therapy in whatever session I might do is a couple of minutes. The pre-talk is a couple of minutes. So now, looking at the clock, thinking we have to count them up just to, apply it to the conscious expectations. I'm going to spend 5 minutes doing that and have a proper goodbye and all of that. That means I at least have 50 minutes of standing up here with a machine gun loaded with positive bullets. And every time they try to connect with anything, I go, da, 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 da. Ah, here we go, try again, come on, right? Let's have fun. And you know what? They don't know what hit them. And I always ask the question, when I wake them up, them still thinking, 15 minutes passed, they just closed their eye for a brief moment because we're not even doing the hypnosis yet. And I will go, so by the way, before we continue, what's the problem? They go, what? I don't know, there's no problem. And to check it up once more, I will do, so think about what you thought was the problem before you actually got here. Try and connect with that right now and see what happens. And I point at the body and I do this. And they go, oh, this feels awesome. Okay, so the problem is nothing. What are the resources? And they mention everything from the session. And they just leave. And a week later, if you ask them, so how was the session? They will go, actually, here's the fact. They will go, I don't know, I'm not sure anything happened, because they cannot connect with what was part of the past that's negative. It doesn't exist anymore. Because the brain shut down the entire system that surrounded the negative network, the neural negative network. It's shut down, it doesn't exist. It can re-emerge in the middle of it. Only new traumas or new bad behaviors that comes from negative traumas can happen. So when they actually leave my office, something might happen. That's called life. That might be a new problem. But if you do things right and you actually work together with the brain, cooperate with it and the body and the nervous system, There's no way it's gonna, start, existing in the middle of it because there's still something left. If you cut the cord and if the neural network is shut down, it's done. But if you just sit there with your script, which is really awesome, and it keeps telling your client what not to do tomorrow when they wake up because that smoking is bad for you. And every time you do it, it feels like the taste of broccoli or whatever, right? And you might start coughing and all of that because that is how they, Jacob Bimblich. You know that guy? Kevin, you know that guy. Jacob Bimblich?
Sure.
Yeah. There's a classic video of him. He's like major hypnosis star back from the 70s, 80s. Jacob Bimblich. Very, very interesting character. So NBC News or something like that, CBS maybe, took him up to what's the Times Square in New York, saying, could you have anyone, random person on the street, to stop smoking right here, right now? And he go, yeah, of course I can do that. And he just picked the most Marlboro-looking guy that was actually there, sat him down with a cigarette between his fingers, and he started telling him what not to do. That is so cringy, so weird, but it worked. Because apparently his authority overloaded everything. So meaning, yes, you can still do it from a script, but the actual intention behind his behavior, is that dealt with? Not really. So that might reemerge, and it will be stronger the next time, right? Even people say, hey, I don't want to stop smoking because then I'll gain weight. Because science says I will gain weight. Does it? No, it doesn't. It's such a small percentage, and the chemicals within the cigarettes has such a small impact that just because you stop smoking doesn't mean that within 2 weeks you gain 6 pounds. That's not happening. And how many people do stop smoking sessions? Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. How many of your clients is already a little bit overweight? Okay, so cigarettes are not the problem, right? Okay, let's just agree on that fact. So here comes the other thing. If you do it the old school way, and you remove that behavior or tell it to stop existing, it'll find a different way. So let's say they usually smoke right after dinner, because that's how they relax. And they're just sitting there. Usually they grab 2 meatballs and a little bit of spaghetti and some sauce, and they sit there and they eat all of it and they have a cigarette. Oh, it feels amazing. Now that oral stimulant is not happening. They're not fiddling with their fingers in the face. And now they have those 2 meatballs, some spaghetti and some sauce and no cigarette, and they go, it's 3 left. Might as well just eat it because now I have time. So when you stop smoking and the behavior is not taken care of, they will eat more because it's natural. So they gain weight because they changed eating behavior. So what do you think would happen if you actually allowed them to stop smoking for real and be proud of it and use all those resources within the past smoker to pay attention to healthy behaviors, focus when I need a break, drink some water, have some sun and all of that. You will have somebody who stops smoking who's really proud of it, maybe even losing weight because they're already a little bit overweight, and now start eating healthy. My first stop smoking session, because I did it old school, and I told him what not to do. I did it the Jacob Bimblich way. And there was a reason why I said broccoli just before. Because I asked him, what do you hate the most, taste-wise? He said, broccoli. Ugh. So all cigarettes now tasted like broccoli. I saw that guy a month later, and he said, well, for a couple of days I didn't smoke, but now I do. And I eat broccoli. And I don't like it. Well, on the upside, broccoli is healthy, so, right? But I just want you guys to pay attention to the fact that if you do something like that, they will just adapt that behavior. So don't think about how to bypass the behavior. No, the behavior is awesome if it has a different focus. The intention behind it is what we need to pay attention to. Then the behavior, the negative one, will automatically change. So again, back to where we began. If we focus on the SUDA scale, like the positive resource that's lacking that we want to empower, build up, and you think about your 2 most important drives, The positive one, and the one you thought was negative, but is now another positive resource, as we just did with you, they collide, but in a powerful way. So now they light up the entire room, and you can feel all that, right? Try not to grow away now. There we go. Right? And remember what we did with Julie? Here it goes. Yeah, that's it. Just empower that even more. Isn't that fun? We haven't even talked about the negative stuff. You know why? We're not supposed to. Right? That's basically it. All right. So let's talk about this. We've got the brain science. We've got the SUDA scale. And what's the most difficult, if you haven't really done it yet, is to sit in front of another person asking the question, what's the problem? And they will definitely want to write a novel on that because they have a list, right? We talked about that in the very beginning. Stop it. Pattern interrupt. So when they have a single word or something like that, do a pattern interrupt because now that neural network is just flashing like, don't know what to do, can't connect with anything because you did a pattern interrupt. And you'll just go, let's do the overdosing way. That's how it's been. How do you want to be different? And then ask the question again, how do you know? Because what happens? If you think about how you want to be different in a specific situation, how do you want to be different? Think about that now. In whatever situation you might have within your own world of being you, in a situation where you want to feel different, what happens? You're connecting with it, don't you? You start to connect with it. So that's the thing we want to empower. So where's the problem state right now? It's on the side. But we'll get back to that. So I want to do something. Would it be okay with you if we did a couple of exercises so you kind of like get it underneath your skin? You know? And for all the ones who think, oh, this is freaking awesome, never heard about this, do it. For all the people in the room go, I know all of this. Still do it. And the third part will be the ones of, well, it's kind of new, so I might just stick with the stuff I knew before I entered this room. You know, be bold. Go beyond your limits, because what you already know, I can't do anything about that, but I can add on information if you actually dare yourself and go to the very edge of your knowledge and take another step and just free falling into what I'm teaching you right now. That means when you leave this room, you go, whoa, I just learned something new. And now it's up to you to decide when to use it and how to use it. That means my mission accomplished. So, for all three groups, that is, I know you're present, I know who you are, because remember, I read minds. You can't fool me, right? I just want you to grab the first and the best, the one you feel the most attracted to right now, not in that way, but attracted to like somebody you trust in this very moment. And I want you to ask a couple of simple questions. What's the problem? That's the first one. And I want you to consider, while they're answering, and you feel like, oh, that's a one power word, negative one, just cut them off. Like, okay, so that's good for now. How do you want to be different? Okay? How do you want to be different? And I'll be an alteration to that small questioning technique right after. Just spend a couple of minutes. What's the problem? Cut it off. How do you want to be different? That's the two questions. See what's happening. When you're the client, feel what's happening on the inside. Because that is kind of like, oh, what the hell just happened? There's kind of like a conflict. But it's interesting. It's interesting to notice. Since you're not all real clients right now, you're experiencing clients, right? So, a couple of minutes, turn around, find someone, ask, what's the problem? And that's how it's been. How do you want to be different? Just spend a couple of minutes. Easy. That's nothing. Turn back around. Even though you're not done yet. Trust me, we're not finished.
Thank God.
We're not finished. Okay. Everybody's attention, please. Back row. Guys, perfect. So what just happened? What happened? How did you experience that? Yeah?
Ironically, the first thing was I was having a problem coming up with problems.
So having a problem with coming up with a problem, awesome. That means everything I did the first hour apparently worked. All right? Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very empowering to be able able to understand how and when,
Okay.
using the power word as a trigger.
Yeah.
To make that pattern interrupt,
Okay.
and then flip it.
So noticing the power word,
Yes.
when you know that hits the floor right there in front of you, you know that's the time for the pattern interrupt. And then move straight into how do you want to feel, how do you want to be different? How do you want it to be different? All right? Does that make sense a little bit? All right. Because that first initial thing that pops up as a power word has a higher positive intention. We're going to use that later. Because remember, I usually have a term like, everything my client says, I will use that with them and against them. I'm not adding anything to it. And that'll show in just a moment. I'm going to do a small demo in just a moment. You'll know what I'm talking about. Everything my client says, I'll use it with them and definitely against them. Okay? So, how was the experience as being the client? Just a few words, a few comments. Speak out loud, someone. Yep,
Oh, sorry.
don't fight.
It was uncomfortable because we are focusing more on that positive thing.
Yep.
I love it. I like to do that anyway, just naturally. I love how this all makes so much sense.
Oh, it will become way better in just a
Yeah.
moment. Trust
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, but it was a little bit like, okay, I gotta go back to a problem now.
So if you made that change already that you don't really want to pay attention to it,
Right.
awesome. Mission accomplished. Yeah.
For me, when I realized what it is I'd rather feel, which is mastery, it was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I didn't even know what I wanted until I declared the problem was I feel overwhelmed.
Nice.
Too much information. What would I rather feel? Mastery. Okay, well that's like
Yep.
it,
Makes
was,
sense.
it
doesn't it?
just opened up that door to
Cool.
be mastery.
Perfect. Because those two drives we worked with just a little bit earlier already made a huge impact within your neurology. It actually did. Just by listening to it and you thinking about it made a huge impact on all of your brains. That's interesting. Two more comments. One for you.
I liked making a new neural pathway.
Yes. It kind of tickles your brain, doesn't it?
Yes.
Ooh, we got more space. Awesome. Yeah. Was one more comment over here? Yeah.
I got to see the part of me that wants to justify the problem. It was like so crystal clear and sharp. It's
Yep.
like, wow, there you are.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's a question.
I have one question.
Okay.
Do you tell your clients about this so that they can know what's
No,
happening?
not necessarily.
Okay.
Because now we're back to the mechanic explaining what kind of tools they use to change your exhaust pipe. You don't get it. You just need to feel the change, not how it happens. Because how would you? So, and we'll get back to that a little bit. So did any one of you pay attention to what kind of modality that one negative power word connected to the problem? What kind of power word or what kind of modality that was when we talk about the senses? Was it a visual thing? Was it kinesthetic? What was it? Just a few words, just throw it at me. Kinesthetic, most of you. Okay, so now we got a kinesthetic feeling connected to the negative. Awesome. So let's change the pattern a little bit. Who want to join me here for just a brief moment? Yep, you're welcome. And I really want you to think about a problem.
Okay.
Oh, this, she paused for like. We're doing good progress. So, anything really.
Okay, so I was laid off of my job recently, and I've been a coach for years, but now that's got to be a full-time gig. And so I feel fear around that.
Okay, so fear around what?
Just launching a full-time coaching business and being successful at that.
Awesome. So, pause for a moment. What is the negative power word right now? Fear. Awesome. And she kind of like gave me the explanation why she felt that way, and we all know that's part of the past. And I'm kind of like already right now trying to limit myself to this teeny tiny demo because I want to explore fear way more because it has so much stuff within it, right? So that's awesome. But we actually noted that down. Fear. How do you know it's fear? That's the new question for you guys. How do you know it's fear?
I feel it in my body.
Kinesthetic, all good, pattern interrupt. Yeah? So now we've got the kinesthetic connection to fear. So that's how it's been. How do you want to feel different?
I want to feel excited and like excited about every day.
Notice how she changed behavior right now, I'm just talking about it. Okay, you want to feel excited every day,
Yeah.
just like that,
And just
awesome.
knowing that people are going to reach out to me, they want my services as a
Yeah.
coach. And
Well, if you could frame that within an image, how that feels, that excitement, how you see yourself when you're totally excited. If that was an image, or symbol, or color, what's the first idea that pops up?
blue and green and a lot of light and movement. And,
Blue and green, a lot of light and movement. How does that makes that excitement expand even more? Because you haven't thought about that, have you? So what's happening right now?
a lot of movement.
Where do you feel the most excited right now, this very moment?
I'm feeling a sense of larger than myself, and
That's pretty badass, isn't it?
yeah. And I feel like I'm like open to downloads or something. I don't know, just like
What
an
kind
opening.
of what kind of sound frames that? Something you haven't paid attention to until now, but really enforces all of that to happen, all that light, all that movement, that excitement, larger than yourself. What kind of sound follows?
It's a profound silence.
I know, isn't it?
Yes.
If that was a scent, maybe even a taste, hasn't have to do with anything that's happening right now, but something that really ignites all of it, makes it blow up right there with excitement and total silence and moving lights in green and blue. What scent or taste would that be?
It's really like the purity of water. It's a refreshing taste.
How does that feel?
It feels refreshing. It feels.
How do you know?
Feeling the stillness.
Does that stillness fear anything?
It takes it all in.
So there's no fear, is it? Is it fear of expanding? Does it fear that?
No.
No. So, what's the problem? I know how it's been, but how does that change feel when you look forward?
I feel so calm, incredibly calm.
You sure? You're really sure? Are you not just pretending right now? What part of you fears that excitement, that light, right now? Or you're just being all excited that fear actually led you to this experience?
It's so
What is-
interesting. It feels just like I feel larger than my body.
You feel larger than your body. So what is fear really, since you came to this point right now?
Well, fear.
It used to be something that limited you,
Yeah.
but what is it really?
What is it?
What is it? Think about this. It's excitement, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that image of blue and green colors,
Yeah.
moving lights.
Yeah.
Is that sound of profound silence? Is that scent of clear water? What is fear really? What's the highest intention behind it when you had it?
It helps me feel alive, or there's an aliveness to it.
So imagine this, you're in front of something new. And what used to be the feeling of, oh, I might fear this, what is it really?
Aliveness.
So that's you connecting with you, becoming alive, knowing, wow, this is the moment. I can be all excited. And you might even close your eyes and they're going to be blue and green colors. It's going to be moving lights all over. And listen to that profound silence within your mind right now. And that taste, a scent of clear water, purified. Because you're larger than you, growing each moment. Look at me. What's the problem? Try not to feel that right now.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was really.
Thank you. So, I'll be right back with you with questions. So let's dissect this a little bit. Because basically I didn't add a whole lot of stuff compared to the exercise you guys just did. So let's chunk it up into steps. What's the problem? When do I stop it?
Negative power word.
Negative power word, knowing that there might be a positive result, not might be, there will be. Okay, but I just pause it right there. That's how it's been. How do you want to be different? And she started talking about that. And I know right now that anything that was fear would now ignite that thing. But fear was connected to kinesthetics. That's just something kind of like a note I made in my own mind. I just realized that. But when I talk about how she wants to feel different, how many senses, modalities did I actually activate? Actually, all 5.
Yeah.
That will overrule anything that was, whatsoever. And now I made this fun game of using a lot of knots together with her word fear, asking about what is it really. So she started doubting the word fear, or at least doubting what used to limit you. And I could even go right now, how fearful do you want to feel to be able to be that excited? Right? And now it comes with a laugh. So the word is not the problem, because it was just a thing. It was just something you limited yourself with because your conscious mind thought that's the limit of what I can do in this type of situation. Totally ignoring the real message behind it, like you can feel alive. So hey, next time you look at something new, you want to feel that fear just a little bit because it turns into excitement, larger than you, being all excited, moving lights, green, bluish colors, profound silence, right? And purified taste and scent of water that is clear. Try not to. Right? So that's basically the steps. Get the negative. What kind of modality? How do you want to feel different? Get all the modalities and then start battling it out. They cannot connect with it. It's already happening within the brain. Few questions. There was a couple of questions. Yes?
It was amazing because she knew she had already been to the auto shop. So
She already
knew what
been
was
there.
going on.
Yep.
And it still was just so profound. And also my big question is you
Yep.
must get your payment ahead of time because everyone's going, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know.
Yeah. So just to repeat that, it was amazing to watch that, how fast it happened, even though she was primed beforehand. Well, when this happens, and this is a question to you right now, when I do this, it's pretty intense. I don't allow you conscious to try and make up some shit on the go, to try and derail you. It's not going to happen. So that was pretty intense between the two of us, right?
Yes.
Because I feel it. I open up my heart. You're part of my sphere of safety right now. There's no way you can escape it. So that's the state I want you to be in because you're part of my state. Yeah?
Yeah, there wasn't any cognitive, I'm thinking you're doing this thing or
Nope.
that thing. No,
Can because I'm overloading.
that didn't-
Every time she started thinking, I just asked the question again to overload her conscious patterns. So another pattern interrupt within the pattern interrupt. Right? That's how I want it to be. Plus, what was the second one? The comment.
No,
Sorry.
I said, do you get money ahead of
Oh
time?
yeah,
Because
yes I
no
do.
one has a-
I do get
Yeah.
money ahead, always. Yeah, because that has to be the contract. That means that they want it. So yeah, definitely, I get money ahead of time. Another question.
What about something like if somebody comes to me wants to lose weight, like weight loss?
Okay.
What's the question?
Well, so the question is, what if somebody stops by the office to lose weight?
Oh.
Okay, so let's talk about it. What is the reason for them not losing weight right now?
Because they are addicted to food.
So what is the problem? Let's pretend right now, you have the problem, which you clearly haven't, but just imagine. If you're the one who really wanted to lose weight, what is really the problem?
I can't stop eating.
Okay, that's a behavior, isn't it? So if you think about it in a more scientific way right now, instead of looking at the behavior, because never attack the behavior. Never. What is the intention behind you overeating?
Comfort.
Comfort. That's a pretty powerful thing, isn't it? Yeah. What happens when you overeat and you feel comfortable? What's happening within the brain with all the chemicals, all the dopamine, all that stuff? It's happiness. It is happiness. Same thing as having a religious moment is connected to food right now because wow, you feel happy, but only for a brief time, right? What would be the excuses? Because let's talk about random excuses with overeating, because comfort is mostly the issue, but there's a sub-meaning to that I'll explain in just a moment. And it's 9 out of 10, actually. So people go, well, I really love the taste of all those cookies, muffins. Here's the thing. If people overeat and it's muffins that seems to be the problem, they're not tasting any of those muffins. It's this behavior, right? Getting you all down there to feel satisfied for a brief moment where the stomach is actually giving your brain a signal like, oh, I feel full. This is awesome. We can go for hours now. All the sugar rushes happening. Oh, yeah. Happiness throughout the brain. And it lasts for maybe 10 seconds. And then you'll go, cookie. There's another one. And oh, there's another one. And now the entire tray is empty. And you go, oh, feeling a little bit worse than just before you started it. Right? Because that happiness only lasts for a brief moment. So let me explain something that I feel might be, Jesus Christ, this is like the most teeny, everything I'm drawing, I have to do this, so I have to undo it. Oh, this is when Richard Nungaard becomes way too cheap when he's buying stuff for conferences. Right? Yes, and that's you I'm talking about, Richard, because I know you'll be watching. So let's think about this. Everything that drives us would be something that is an emotional, that will be a peak kind of thing, but how long does that peak moment last? When you either feel, totally terrified or totally happy, for how long time does that last? That peak moment?
Half a minute.
Sorry?
Half a minute.
Half a minute? Less.
Seconds.
Yeah, 1.7 seconds tops. That is when we really expand it. So let's think of it this way. Now, this is just baseline of an emotion. You go, oh, happy, and back down again. And this part is 1.7 seconds tops. That whole cycle, how much time does that take? In the past, people who were clever would say 90 seconds. But reality is more like 45 seconds. So that means your peak moment is only 1.7 seconds tops within those 45 seconds. Everything else is not that peak moment. It's not that, feeling amazing or whatever. So let's say that, let's go back to the overeating part. I need a cookie to feel excited and comfortable or whatever, or safe. It lasts for 1.7 seconds while eating it. Now you have to have another one. And then you'll do another one that comes down here, and you'll have another one just like that, and you have another peak moment. You have to repeat that behavior, and now the brain functions in a very smart way unless it's negative. It will look for anything within your environment to copy that emotion, to hijack that thing. And if you're in a problem state, you will notice all the issues within the room. All the issues within your path, because now it's doing all it can do to make sure you will maintain that kind of excitement within the problem.
Even if it's negative?
Especially if it's negative, your unconscious as a program will look for all the dangers so you can keep surviving within your peak moment. So that becomes, this part up here will become the normalized emotional state. Ew. So when you get out of your bed in the wrong way that morning, with the wrong leg, you go, one of those days. That's the thought. What do you think your brain does now? Does it go, let's just be happy. Embrace yourself. Now it goes, what a shit day. And now it looks for something else that can provoke you and give you that same kind of peak within your emotion. Because it doesn't define if it's good or bad. It's all about the frequency in it. So now it goes look for everything that will maintain that sort of level within your emotion, and now you stomp your foot on the side of the bed and you go, oh, fuck, right? And now, looking at all your clothes that was fine yesterday, now because of those emotions, you open up your closet and you go, I have nothing to wear, right? And now you lose your keys, you can't find your purse, and your car doesn't start, and your boyfriend is an idiot, he doesn't listen and all that, and you have a great day. Right? Because it runs on automatic. So we need to do a pattern movement. This is a client with a problem. So we do a pattern interrupt, and you go, oh, okay, so let's find a positive resource that on an emotional level is better, more powerful than the negative one. And everything that is a positive resource is better than a negative one. Because it goes through the circuits of your brain in a different way. And it goes through your body as appreciation. So that's why it works even better. Powerful. Right? You can get stuck in a negative emotion, but your body is now limited. Have any one of you had a negative moment, negative state where your body went like, oh, well, let's do it. Like, no, not really, right? It's more shut down. But if you feel positive, oh, you got energized. You want to do something like, here we go, right? Perfect. So that's why it's better. So let's kickstart that one. So when you have, let's go back to this situation just before with you. Negative state was fear. And you will notice fear in any sort of situation you might be in because that's how you program yourself to make sure that you would survive. Right? Let's keep it down to the basics. But now, and that was a kinesthetic feeling. So now I overruled that with, hey, we got a better feeling than this. And now we got this thing going on too, and this thing going on too. So now we normalize the state on a higher level emotionally with more resources. You feeling all of it all over, and you are even larger than you right now as it grows, right? Oh yeah, keep that smile away. Try, right? So that's how powerful it is. That is normalization. That's why we do it this way. So we need to do it again and again and again and again. Here's a question. Did I add anything to that session with you? Did I add anything? Any words that wasn't part of it already? Did I come up with some conclusion, an idea, something I wanted her to do? Did I add anything that emotionally would change her way of thinking? Good, that's the right answer. I didn't. I used everything she told me with her and against her. Against her because I used fear in a tricky way. Because do you want to mention something that used to be the trigger of a negative state? Well, right now, I trust this so much that I knew when I said fear, because you know what the high intention was behind it, that will trigger all the good stuff. So yeah, so now your conscious mind will go, oh, darn it, we can't use that word anymore as a negative thing. Okay, let's just leave it at the great emotional state you're in right now. That's how it all works out. So basically, looking at the clock, what should we do for the last 45 minutes of the session now? Talk about more positive stuff, right? Definitely, yeah. Question.
You at some point you asked what the positive intention of the negative state is.
Yeah.
When do you know to bring that in without triggering the negative state?
So here's the question. I keep chunking it up. What is the purpose of it? What is the higher positive intention? When do I stop? When I see a physiological change. Here's a demo. Chana, well, because I want to feel free. Okay, why do you want to feel free? Why is that important to you? What can you do more of? Express myself a little bit more? Okay, why do you need to express yourself a little bit more? Why is that important to you? Because then I feel connected. There was a slight physiological change that I didn't do before with the lift of the eyebrow. So, okay, why is that important to you? Because I just want to be me. Oh, bigger physiological change. But here it comes. Why is it important to you to be you? Because I can live my life. I can live my life. That was the physiological change I was looking for. My client had to move the entire body, meaning the body adapted. It showed me, look, I just did it. It's now. Because now the conscious mind is still trying to cover up everything. Like, shh, don't say it out loud. Because emotions, you might pay for that later, right? Making sure that you're not being too vulnerable or too insecure or unsafe. Because that's the power of the conscious mind. Doing its best not to avoid those situations. But what it's doing is actually putting you right in front of those situations. But now you overrule it. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm always looking for that. And who has something? Let's play with this idea, because some people think, well, there must be something that doesn't have a higher positive intention. Does any one of you think of a thing right now or trust that there's no way this serves a higher positive intention? Then bring it. You dare to do this? Awesome. Good. So what's the idea?
Lack of confidence.
Okay, get up here. Is it just an idea? Is it something you actually do feel once in a while?
It's
I know.
present.
Get up here.
Clear and present danger.
And while she's getting up here, I want to share something with you. Remember, worst case scenario, that behavior or that state is merely just making sure that she's surviving this very moment. How is that not good? Exactly. So instead of looking for ideas out there and trying to figure out something that would sound amazing, worst case scenario, she just want to survive, right? You just want to get...
That's the problem.
You just want to
I'm
survive.
a survivor, though.
I-
That's my problem. That's your problem. That's-
What a gift! I'm a survivor.
That's not a problem.
How does that feel, being a survivor?
Stressful.
So, when you know it's stressful, how do you feel your body as you're being stressful? Do you feel your entire body?
Yeah, tense.
Oh wow. What would happen if you tried to survive and have a great life, but you didn't feel your body whatsoever? Could you actually live your life not feeling anything within your body?
No,
So how do you know it's stress?
because I'm tense and I want to run away.
So in which other situation do you feel tense, but it's good? Something similar that is not stressful, because I know there's a couple of situations where you feel like this, but it's a different thing. How do you feel excited, by the way? Oh, yeah, let's do it.
When I'm dancing.
When you're dancing, do you feel excited while dancing?
Yeah, I love dancing.
Yeah, awesome. So
It
how
makes
do
me feel good.
you know the difference between that, which is kind of like the same behavior, but not being stressed?
Because I don't want to run away.
Well, but that's just
I
the
wanna
product
keep
of
enjoying
it.
it.
But that's not the question. How do you know the difference between the two of them
Oh.
as you're feeling it?
Because one makes me feel bad.
How do you know? It's the same thing, so it's how he processes it, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a little different because I feel uptight
Okay.
when I'm nervous.
So when you're in a situation
Yeah.
and you feel this and you want to leave, how is that not you dancing away from that situation to go look for more positive situations?
It's true.
So you're still dancing.
Yeah.
Are you excited about dancing?
Yeah.
So what's the
dancing.
problem? Because you're a surviving dancer, aren't you?
Yeah.
Imagine one of,
Dancing as fast as I can.
let's play with this idea. Imagine something from your past that in the past would make you stop, turn around, and go bury yourself back home for a couple of days. Like, I don't want this, right?
Yeah.
Play with that because I know it happened.
Yeah.
Imagine that is right now, right here in front of you. And now you look at it, and you know when you want to do this, and you want to flee, it's you dancing around it. Look at it in a different angle. Stand on the backside, look at it. Look from above, dance around it. Look from underneath, just dance your way around it. Because it's only existing if you allow it to right there, because you're actually dancing around it. How does that feel?
I feel relaxed, more or less.
How is that possible?
I don't.
So where did that stress go? What is stress really right now in this situation? When you feel your entire body, that used to be, in the past, it was stress, right? But right now, when you feel your entire body, knowing that you feel relaxed, because you're dancing around that problem. So what's happening right now?
Yeah,
Are you confident about dancing?
oh yeah,
Do you feel confident within the excitement?
yeah, absolutely. I'm a really good dancer.
Do you feel confident that if I put an object right there, you can dance all the way around it?
Oh, sure.
Do you pay attention to other people while you dance? Because you feel great, so it's just you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Huh. But that's the problem. You just dance around it. Look at it. What's happening? Yeah,
It's small.
isn't it?
Yeah,
And
really
so
small.
So if it's small, you don't even have to dance around. You can jump over it. I know. It's because it's just there. And now you're feeling your entire body. How do you know that's good right now and not you being stressed?
Because it feels sweet. It feels wonderful.
Are you stressed of not feeling excited enough?
No. No, because when I dance, it's just naturally
So what is
euphoric for me.
So what used to be stress in the past, what is it really right now? Is that euphoric? Is it excitement? Do this. Here we go. What happens now?
I can't really do it. It doesn't feel right.
So it turns into what?
It turns into let go.
I want you to imagine all of your problems in the past. Every time you felt lack of confidence, all of it, I just stack it on top of each other. Put it right there. Yeah. Try and do this. Yeah, feel relaxed. Look at it. And start dancing around it. There we go. Because it already happened, didn't it? And everything that you thought was you feeling stressed out, and you not feeling your body the right way you wanted to, not smiling and all of that, what does it make you feel right now? Because I see a change. Do you want to dance around it? Jump
No,
away?
I feel way more in control. I just feel like it's nothing. And why am I worried?
How do you know?
Because I'm not stressing about it.
So if you're not stressing about it, what are you really doing right now? Yep, that's it. What are you really doing with it? As you look at it,
I'm
and
not paying attention to it.
and when you're not paying attention, how do you feel?
Good.
What can you do now?
I can go dancing.
Are you confident?
Yeah, I'm very confident, but
You're very
I
confident.
have problems with sometimes not feeling confident.
Well, you did, right?
Yeah.
In the past. But you just had all your problems in front of you. And you started smiling, dancing around it as if it was no issue whatsoever. So is there anything in the future that can be bigger than all of your problems in the past?
No.
So what's the issue? I know what you used to do, but isn't that you feeling and sensing your entire body? Feeling relaxed, excited at the same time? Because, hey, you can just look at something like, I'm gonna dance all over your ass. Right? Are you confident about that?
Yeah, and yeah, I guess it's a state of mind that I have to embrace
Okay.
because dancing has always been something wonderful for me.
About 6 minutes ago, somebody in this room said, well, I have an issue that will be impossible to chunk up and change.
Yeah.
Something about confidence.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Remember, she said it was impossible. Would you want to dance all over her ass too? Around her, jump over her, and show her the way. I want you to try and feel stressed right now. Do your best. Try and feel stressed. Try. Do whatever you can. Try and connect with anything within your mind, consciously, unconsciously, that would have stressed you in the past. Try and do that now and see what happens instead.
Oh, it's just can't happen.
So what's happening instead?
Making everything turn small.
So you
I feel like a giant.
are within your mind, aren't you? How confident would a giant be in the surroundings of midgets?
Exactly.
I know. So, one question. What's the problem?
Well, it's not a problem
So what is it?
because I can dance around it. It's not a problem because it's silly. It's like, why is it a problem?
How
I
does that
don't
make you feel?
understand why it's a problem.
Me neither. It used to be in the past, but that's the past. But right now, hey, just do it. I want you to try not to, on your way back to your chair, not think about it because your body might want to do a small step that might look like dancing. I don't know. I would really want you to try not to do it. Do your best. Yeah, here we go. Right? Thank you for trying. Awesome. That's my
We
turn.
want to see the dance. Come
I
on.
just feel like a giant.
We want to see the dance.
There we go. Isn't that awesome?
That's beautiful.
When you think about it, even though I taught you something that is basically simple, I did add something, not information, not things I wanted her to feel. I used everything she told me. I just went around it a couple of times. I just deepened it. I questioned it. I challenged her with her own words. And I used everything right here in the end, everything she claimed was an issue before we did it. And I just threw it at her, and she couldn't stop laughing, smiling, feeling relaxed, excited at the same time, and she even danced on the way back home.
Yes.
I didn't expect it to happen that soon, but you did. Did you see the physiological change?
Yes.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Of course you did. That's why you did it. Your body went like, hey, look at me. I'm doing something. It's change. Awesome. So let's almost end off with another John Oliver thing that I truly believe. For many, many years, he said, remember, all you are is change. No matter what you think you are, you're always more than that. But there's actually a twist to it, because if you are change, it means you're static. So all you are is changing. Never ever look at your client thinking they're stuck in something, because what's them right now wasn't them 30 seconds ago. Look out for those resources. Allow them to express it, experience it, and become part of it by asking questions. Only use their words. Keep a happy mind, a happy thought. So who would ever dare to pick the one within the audience who claim their issue is the most difficult of everyone in the audience and just bring it up here and within 6 minutes just solve it? Who would want to do that? Me. Because I didn't believe her anyway. You know why? Because clients are freaking lying. They truly believe in it, but I know it's false reality. What I do believe in when I looked at you was like, wow, you must have some powerful resources within. Those are the ones I connected with. So already on the way up here, probably you felt a change.
I felt scared.
That's a new feeling, but it makes you feel more excited, isn't it? Because it's your body going like, not just like this, but ooh, like this. Try not to move your feet a little bit thinking about that, right? I know, that's what I'm looking for. So again, I'm using her own words with her and against her. We can still do therapy, we can still do past therapy, trauma collapse technique, or whatever you want to feel like, but I just want you to understand that the main source within any session is keeping things positive, as we just did. Everything is right in front of you on a silver platter. Look at it. Look at your client and everything in between, and you will know what to do. Get rid of everything you think you're supposed to do, just kick it out of the way, but stay on the path of knowing your client is already changing. You just need to pay attention. That's how simple it is. Let's do 5 questions. Yes?
So where's the hypnosis, or is open eye hypnosis?
So, was she in trance? Hell yeah. When I started shifting modalities. Even though she had open eyes, but you sensed a lot of stuff. You were communicating on the inside on different levels. You were listening to me, you were paying attention to the audience, and you noticed new behavior happening, right?
Yeah, actually I felt kind of like in a different space.
I know, so try and do that while being conscious.
Yeah.
Impossible. Yep, so it happened within seconds. When I started unloading my stuff on her, like,
Open eye.
yep, exactly.
In the earlier demo, she said it's quiet, and you said yes. Like, I felt like you felt it was quiet too, and I'm like, I heard bang.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's just a change. I just confirmed that it's quiet. Yeah.
Okay.
So think about this. If that was part of your reality, and you kind of like stated it in a way where you thought it might be a problem, and said, it's quiet, that's how she expressed it. It's quiet with this question mark in the end. I go, yes. How did that change it with my yes? It's kind of like, oh, it's not a bad thing. And I just left it. Because I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the resources within it, deeper down. So I could have made it a problem, like quiet how? Well, nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Now it's a problem.
Right.
Yeah. So I could even go on a different path, like, oh, quiet. That's awesome. That means you can hear all the new sounds. What kind of sound do you want to hear first, since it's that quiet? So, right? I see nothing. Amazing. That means you can just put anything you want in there in your reality. I feel nothing. Cool. Try not to feel your entire body right now as you feel nothing, because that's your entire body. Oh, nothing is a problem in my world. Try and do it. I will change it and reframe it right away to a positive. Right? Thank you for that question. Anyone else?
I don't know if you did it with me, I can't really recall it, but
Because it doesn't exist anymore. Proof. Isn't that a great confirmation?
Well, so I think in terms of future pacing, and we're not really addressing that here definitively.
I just did it.
And I saw that.
Yeah.
That all the problems in the future.
Yes, here's the thing, how I always test my results. I always do this, and this is what most therapists are most afraid of, checking out if the stuff just, they're just helped out with, if it actually do work. So I'm starting with one thing, the major thing, right in front of you. How do you just, go buy it? How do you change that into a resource? And they're always being successful with that. That means I can now take everything they can possibly think of from their past as being a problem and make it one solid thing in front of them. And now, being that resourceful from the first thing, they'll just go through it. Easy as nothing. So that means when she's the most powerful, in the state of being the most resourceful consciously, unconsciously, and body-wise, there's no way right now, on the way home in her car, she can be more productive than this moment. Meaning, she can't come up with something that might be a problem on the way back home. It's impossible. Because she was the most resourceful right now. She had all the chances to create something that might be a negative, and she couldn't in the most resourceful state. That means she will fail from now on trying to do that. Make sense?
Yes.
That's why I'm doing it. I trust the process so much, I'm not afraid of it. And since that's part of my energy, there's no way they can hijack my negative and allow that to become energy within their negative. So I just sit there like, try. Go ahead, give it your best shot, you will fail, and that's awesome, right? That's my intention. That's why it's working this way. So here's the thing, to end it off. Yes, I do have stuff on my table. Yes, I do trainings. I have trained the trainers coming up in Scottsdale in April and in June. If you like my way of working, you should be looking into that. But I will be in the backup room afterwards if you want to have any questions. And, hey, if you text, yes please, to 800-403-0106, you'll be led to a website. And if you just put in your information, I'll make sure you get this entire video, whatever handouts I might have, the videos from yesterday, and then access to a couple of more resources, free of charge. Yeah?
And a pony?
Not today. All right? So that, it requires a US phone number. If you don't have that, just put your name down on paper in the back. I'll make sure you get all of it. So that's free of charge. I just want to share. If you want to know anything about the trainings, come say hi, come ask me questions, and that's all I have for now. Hey, everyone, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.